A strong company culture boosts productivity, decreases turnover, and improves employee engagement. And in most cases, a positive culture results in a thriving business. So in this video, Kelly is going to explain how to avoid profit killer number 10, lacking a positive company culture and leadership. Here's Kelly now.
Profit killer number 10. Profit killer number 10. It is all about how to build a good company culture and why to build a good company culture, what that means to you, what that means to your bottom line, and how important it is. It's sort of an invisible area that you guys probably don't consider as being essential to your profitability. But I'm going to tell you from personal experience of growing a couple companies that company culture is critical. Our staff needs to know we have their back. They need to know that we are clear on what we want them to do. Everybody that takes a job wants to be good at their job. They want to get recognition. They want to make more money. They want to contribute to a good cause, a good company. And in this industry, we're in the happy side of medicine. We're making people feel good from their outside that affects their inside, and hopefully we're making them feel good from the inside out, from the way that they're treated when they come in. But this side of medicine is about making you look your best and then feel your best, because we know when you have confidence, you'll get out in the world and you'll do positive things with your life. So we're in the business of making people look good and, more importantly, feel good. So that is what we have to do with our company as well. So if you followed me long, you know that I'm very dedicated to personal development and learning how to be better every day. I read books constantly, consuming how I can be a better leader, a better mother, a better spouse, all of those things. You know, I want to get the very most out of life, right? So as a parent, you can't get mad at your kids when they're behaving badly without considering what sort of discipline or structure you provided. And your business is the same way. If you don't like the company culture that is in your company, the good news and the bad news is you just need to look in the mirror to determine why that culture is there. If you don't have your staff's back, if you assume the worst, if you're not leading by example, you know, these things sound obvious, of course, but you know, it's the little things. It's you know, treating everybody courteously. It's showing up on time. It's being reliable. It's not losing your temper. It's giving clear direction and good follow-up and correction if people need it. If someone needs to be coached up or out, there's a policy and a procedure in place for that, so they don't feel like it's personal, right? So profit killer number 10 is really in here as the frosting on the cake, right? Because yes, you need to know your financial plan and you need to measure performance. You need to have a marketing plan and execute that so that you can get people in the door and get them into using your different services, because your retention rate is your biggest impact KPI on your profitability. So many of you guys know that, you know, the average sizes of med spas seem to be in that $1 to $2 million range. Anything once you get over that $1 million mark, things get a lot more profitable, margins go up, things come together, the mix of services are very strong. Lately, I've done a lot of work on procuring venture capital and helping people with startups and being able to really go through in order with a clear financial plan, clear marketing plan, position descriptions and compensation plans, how to start with your team bonus. If you haven't implemented a team bonus yet, jump on our website, Projected Growth Consulting, and download the free revenue tracker tool and read in the book. If you haven't gotten the book yet, you can get the book free on Projected Growth Consulting. You can get a free copy of the book sent to you, and I hope that you do, because this is really a step-by-step guide where you go through and you assess how you're doing in a certain area, like your website, let's say, or your marketing plan. And then at the end of it, it's got a step-by-step implementation plan, because it's all about the implementation. Projected Growth Consulting was started by me, a business owner, knowing that you don't have a lot of time to work on the business, you're working in the business. So what I've tried to do is create short, easy, implementatable, nope, that's a word, things that can be implemented quickly and easily that are effective, proven ways to create the results that you're wanting. Proven systems creating proven results is our tagline for a reason. Consultants get a bad name because they are not, when people get done with their consulting, sometimes they don't know if they've had a good result. That's why we track everything and encourage you to do so. When we first start with a client, we will benchmark your numbers and do a practice diagnostic so we can repeat that quarterly to show you the growth that's happening, because it happens slowly over time, just like a body contouring patient. We want to show them their results at that 6 to 12 week mark, and we want them to see what's happening, because when you watch it every day, sometimes those things are happening right before your eyes. So one of my commitments when I started Projected Growth Consulting was measurable results, trackable, measurable. I never want a client at the end of working with me or anyone on my team to wonder if they got value. So even though you may know what to do, you might be struggling with the doing or the implementation, which I find is really common. The other thing is, every time you listen or learn or go to a workshop or attend a Facebook Live or a webinar, you will pick up 1 or 2 tips. And that is, the thing that needs to be implemented. And many times we put that on the back burner. So if you learn something today that you want to implement, make sure that you put it on your agenda, or let your assistant know, or put it on the next company meeting agenda, so that you don't lose track of something that might be important here. So when you are trying to create a good company culture, let's start with the why. Why does it matter? When employees and staff members feel cared for and guided and like they've got a good place to work, they will work harder for you and solve problems and create more revenue with less management. And that is, after all, the key. We're really trying to incentivize our team to want to work together to create the results that we all need. Many times I'll have physicians and owners say, well, people have a job, that should be enough. They should be happy that they have a job. Maybe you feel that way, but it just is not the reality. And we all create our own reality, and that is not one of the realities that your staff or your employees are walking around thinking, oh, I'm lucky to have a job. Even in today's day and age, that is not what they're thinking. They're thinking, I want to know what my job is. I want to know how to be successful. I want to be recognized when I'm successful, and I don't want to be berated or criticized for something that isn't even in my job description. So many times as the owner or the physician, you're not at the front desk very often. Maybe you're not in the consultations that often. And as you come out of your service or your procedure, you bop through and you see something you don't like and you jump on it right then, which is human nature. That's kind of shooting yourself in the foot. When you only come out every once in a while from treatment rooms and you think something's not being done right, that's a time to discuss with your manager a concern that you have, so that you can find out the real reason of what's going on, instead of just walking out and criticizing or instructing people haphazardly here and there. That creates sort of a hostile work environment where people are nervous they're going to get caught off guard doing something that may or may not be even their job description. And I know one of the things that I see in small businesses and practices getting started is we don't have sometimes very many employees. We want people to wear all the hats and be cross-trained so that if someone's out sick or something happens, things are covered. The pro to that is, yes, you have some cross coverage and things like that, and cross coverage is one thing. The con to that is you can't hold anybody accountable because no one knows who's exactly responsible for any given responsibility. So the biggest challenge that I see with small companies, which all of these practices are, and my company is too, is not doing a clear job description and not showing the path to promotion or ways to make more money, and clearly defining what those objectives or milestones will be. And why don't we do this? Because it takes time, it takes energy, and it does take skill. If you need help with these things, we definitely are here to help you. We have several courses where you can do it yourself, and the conversion consultation and closing course has a lot of suggestions in there. But what I think is so critical is you need to take time with your management team, with your staff, make sure everyone is clear on their role, their description, and their responsibilities, and how they're measured on their performance. So let me give you an example. The next webinar that we have coming up tomorrow, is all about how to create a superstar, rock star front desk team. You know, they really are your air traffic controllers. If you've never sat at the front desk and seen what it is to multitask the phone, people coming in and out, checking out, retail, staff questions, scheduling problems, you have no idea how demanding that position is. We treat it like an entry-level position. We put someone up there as a newbie with a low hourly wage, and then we don't understand why there's chaos. You know, I've always sat at the front desk with a new client to assess how that's going. We've done secret shopper programs to see how things are going, to give owners some feedback as to what's actually happening and what training can we do to make that better. The front desk is so critical, and you know, the whole first year that I owned the Body Spa, I sat at the front desk and did all my scheduling and phones and in and out, because I knew that was the lifeblood. That was the first impression, the last impression. It's what kept the day on schedule. It's what kept my staff on schedule. It's what dealt with any small problems that came up in terms of customer service for the day. So that is one example. You know, we just, unless you sit up there or observe up there a few hours, you have no idea the stress level and the multitasking that it takes. And I would assert that that happens in almost every job throughout your facility. So it is so important for your staff to know, as the owner, as the manager, that you appreciate and understand their position, their responsibilities, what they're trying to achieve, and most importantly, what success looks like in your eyes for them. They are there trying to impress you and do a good job, and that is what will create a happy, cohesive team. If everyone is clear on their job, their responsibilities, how they contribute to the greater good, that is really one of the keys in bringing your staff together. We want them all rowing the same direction. So if you haven't yet implemented a team bonus structure, I would really encourage you to do that, because that is one of the secret steps that I do with every successful consulting client that I work closely with. And that's that weekly revenue calculator. And what that does is it creates a bonus when the team gets above goal. And what that does is it takes away some of that cattiness that you might find when someone's trying to get retail credit or sales credit. When you change the game and create a way for the pulling together of your team to make more money, they will help each other and say, hey, do you need help with your follow-ups? Or you know, do you want me to close this sale for you? Should we do an outbound call campaign and maybe pre-sell a bunch of these fillers? You know, we're so close to goal. And that goal then is something that they know about. They know what they're doing every day, every hour. And that's so critical. So if KPIs and numbers are confusing to you, now that we're coming to the end of this Top 10 Profit Killer series, the next part that I'm going into is, how do you know how much revenue you really could make in your entire, you know, your capacity for your entire facility, by room, by procedure, by staff, by hour, by week, by month. These are critical things to track, as well as knowing your retention for your clients, how many times on average they come in, how many products they buy, what's your average sales ticket, what's your average retail ticket. These KPIs are critical for a lot of reasons. Number one, what we track improves. Secondly, when you put the team together and they understand those numbers and they see those numbers, they'll work together to grow those numbers. And it's a way for you to know if you have the right people in the right places. You know, if you are keeping track of how a provider is doing based on, you can tell if their schedule starts to not be full anymore, maybe they're doing something wrong. There's ways to know that. But overall, when you're looking at the fiscal health and the capacity of your entire business by hour and by room and by facility capacity, you really have your finger on the pulse to know what's happening overall. Is your rebooking going way down? Are we not doing any upselling? These are things that are measurable. Is our retention going down? Do we need to do an internal customer survey, an external customer survey? Do we need more training? What do we need to fix this problem? You only know you've got a problem if you have a speedometer and a gas gauge. And I've talked about that with your the way you set up your profit and losses. It's a certain way that you can set them up to where when you see them, you're actually getting data that you can use to make decisions. This is the same thing. So the reason why you need the descriptions and the job descriptions and the compensation plans and the bonus plans is so that you can motivate and see how people are doing. You need those KPIs to know, are they at 50% of their capacity? Are they at 100% of their capacity? And you're trying to bonus them based on growing more business, but they're at the top for their room. Knowing averages, like each room should make $1 million a year if it's really positioned correctly. Are you using your staff correctly? Are you making them do the consultations so those rooms are held up and not able to operate? Or do you have an employee that is just your patient consultant? Many people think they can't afford that. I would attest you cannot afford not to do that. That person doesn't need to be full-time or full benefits. They may only do consultations 2 days a week, but that feeds your entire rest of the facility. If you're not doing cross promotions, then you're not getting multiple services with each service that you're doing. Are you measuring your cost per lead? All of these things, the numbers come into it, and that also has so much to do with your company culture, because when people know you're paying attention to details and you're tracking these things, they feel like the business is better run, that they can't get away with things that they might otherwise, and actually they feel safer and more confident that your business is going to stay in business, that they will keep having a job, and that things are going the right way. So, number one, clarify the roles and position, the pay, and the track so that they can make more money and be more successful. Hopefully, you do those things by setting, team bonuses and team goals that they're looking at on a regular basis, daily or even hourly, but definitely weekly at the bare minimum. Also, setting goals of knowing what percentage of their retail do they need to sell according to services. Your estheticians, your medical estheticians should be selling 50% retail to their service number. When you know that an employee should be creating 4x their cost, you are a better boss because you can sit down and say, yes, I would love to give you a raise. And what I need you to do is take your hourly production numbers up to this level, because when you go from a 4x to a 5x, I can raise your hourly rate, or I can do things to make you a level 2 provider instead of a level 1 provider. So this information may not sound like it has as much to do with company culture as just a treat people nice and the golden rule. But that's really not the key to a good company culture. It's the structure. It's the predictability, it's the fairness, it's the coaching and the growing that you give your team, as well as a positive attitude and maybe doing an employee of the month and some different employee contests for fun to mix it up and sprinkle some fun in there. I think that it all begins with the hiring and the onboarding. So you want to make sure that people understand the company culture, make sure that you understand the company culture you're trying to create, and you hire for personality. You cannot change a person's personality. If they're an introvert, they're an introvert. If they're an extrovert, they're an extrovert. If they're fairly friendly, they're fairly friendly. You can teach them skills specifically to do their job, but you will not change their personality. And what I find in the offices is many times we think we've got a bad employee, but we just have them in the wrong place. So what I like to do when I'm interviewing people is I like to take them through, a phone interview, a virtual interview, an in-person interview, and then a working interview that's paid for them to come in and meet the team. Hire slowly, fire quickly, because if you've got the wrong fit, you don't want them ruining your company culture. So as you bring them in, if you've got a very fast-paced environment, you've got to train them quick and make them move fast and see if they can keep up. Because that's really the key is you don't want to start them out with different expectations. So if you have them come in for a working interview and they're at the front desk, explain exactly what you want them to do, pay them their hourly rate. Afterwards, do a team meeting, find out if everyone enjoys working with them, if they think they're the right fit, and whether you think they're the right fit, and were they able to do the tasks that you wanted them to do. Because that wrong fire costs you so much in terms of staff turnover sometimes, losing clients, etc. So it's worth the time to take the steps when you onboard and interview your staff for your very important team. And then that brings you back to, they are clear, they've been brought on in an orderly fashion, they realize that you're running your business in a structured way, they know what their job is, they know that they're going to get their 90-day review. Many times you can bring them on as a contractor for the first 90 days and let them graduate to being an employee. Again, that shows your seriousness, that you really want to make sure it's the right fit for them and the right fit for you, because that is what's going to create this company culture, which is palpable by your clients that come in. You can feel the difference when you walk in and the staff is a happy staff or a disgruntled staff. Which place would you rather do business? I'm sure you've gone to a restaurant or a retail store and you've just sensed like, wow, these people do not get along. It's not a comfortable place to be. A quick story, we had a $4 million business going in Spokane with cosmetic surgeons, and we really took a lion's share of the plastic surgery business away, and it was the staff and the company culture. That front team was amazing. People could not wait to come in for their after appointment, and they were showing the people at the front desk and the consultants even more than they wanted to show the doctor what their results were. Because that relationship, you felt it when you walked in the front door. Everybody was having a great time, working super hard, making good money, hitting our goals, making sure that people got the right services and the take-home care and booked the next appointment. And we all got our treatments and went to trainings and knew what these things were by personal experience. We could share our experience or our clients' experience. And it just made for a fun, exciting, really great place to work. Yes, it's still stressful. Did toilets break down? Were people, out some days? Did a client no show for a surgery? Did the computers go down? All those things happened here and there, but we had a team that pulled together that made it all work. And when you can create that and feel like your team has your back, then you've made it. Okay? Then you get a flu or you get cold and your team pulls together and they just make it happen. And that's when you feel like, oh my gosh, how blessed am I? I feel like this most every day to have the team that I have, right? And my team knows I've got their back. I am their number one fan. Of course, sometimes people make mistakes and I need to coach them and help them learn how to do it better. Many times it's my own mistake for giving a project off without proper instruction and delegation because I'm moving so fast, or maybe I haven't updated their new position description and there's some confusion in there. So first, look in the mirror. First, am I leading by example? Am I providing the structure that it takes for them to be successful, happy, well-adjusted, and a team? Then you will really see what your business can do. One of the ways that I like to approach corrective action or reviews is to do a SWOT analysis. And I like the staff member to tell me what they think their best strengths are, what opportunities they're looking for, what challenges or weaknesses they have, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and what things that they feel very uncomfortable with the company. I do that separate, they do that separate. We come together, or the manager will do that. And it's really interesting because a lot of times you'll find out people think they're really, really strong at the thing that you thought they needed work on. So that, communication is, of course, the key to building an organization. But the next thing is really being able to make sure that you have the right person in the right job. And that, maybe my sociology background comes out here, but I will tell you what, many times when I go into a practice, I use that more than any of my other skills. Do we have the right people in the right position? Do they really know what they're doing? Do they feel confident and comfortable that they would know where to go for help if they don't know what they're doing? All of these things make people feel safe. They will take risks and they will do things and become more autonomous. We went through and did a company meeting and we all got together. We usually got together once a year, except COVID kind of threw things off. And we talked about what kind of characteristics do we have as a team and that we need team members to have to be successful at projected growth consulting, because we of course don't want a high turnover. We want lifers here. We're a team that's been together a long time. Some of these people I've worked with for 8-9 years. It's resilience. It's knowing it's having a positive attitude, knowing that everything's figure outable, going and trying to solve your problem before you come into bringing it to a manager. It's knowing that we're a team, but we're individual performers. And so for us, it's all about attitude, perseverance, figuring things out on your own, bringing solutions to the table, being flexible and fluid, because small companies change in this environment. And obviously in our aesthetics, there's always new services and technologies, which is part of what I love about that, but it does create new challenges here and there as well. So one of the things I would tell you when you're trying to create the rapport and the relationships, whether it's you or your manager with your team, really ask them, what is the staff member's impression, or the employee, what do they feel like their strengths and weaknesses are? Where do they want their opportunities to be? And make sure that they're in the right position. An easy example is, grabbing your scrub tech and putting them at the front desk because your receptionist is out. If someone likes being a scrub tech, that means they're not very chatty, they're not very talkative, they're probably an introverted person. They like being in surgery and doing instruments and not talking to people. So of course, when you take a fish out of water and put them at the front desk, are they going to be a successful receptionist who's all about smile and cheerfulness and excited to see someone and multitasking all over the place at Command Central? Of course they're not. So we don't want to let them go because they're a bad receptionist. Every once in a while, we get in that pinch. Oh no, we need a new front desk. We need someone new, and we grab whoever we can and we throw them up there, and then we try to discipline them for being bad at their job. So let's not do that. The best time to interview people is when you don't yet need them, and to keep them on the back burner. Having a few people that want to know when an opportunity will arise is really money in the bank. It's like having a savings account, so that you are not doing a knee-jerk reaction to fill a hole too quickly. Because what I said before is hire slowly, fire or coach up or out quickly. Which brings me to the corrective actions that I see this missed a lot, where we'll document a few things that people do wrong, justifying why we're going to let them go, but we don't take the time and energy to actually meet with them and coach them and say, hey, okay, this is a serious enough issue that we're going to sit down and talk about what needs to happen in order to get you to be successful in your job. And, after we meet on this in a few weeks, if we're not seeing where it goes, we'll either have to look for a different position in the company, or perhaps this might not be the right place for you. But they deserve that honesty and that conversation to be able to see if they can get up to speed. Now, many of us as owners and managers are not comfortable having that conversation, and we avoid that until we're so frustrated that we just say, let them go. That doesn't help the person that's being let go, and it doesn't instill confidence in your team. So things like that will undermine your credibility with your team. Just like, maybe talking about your frustrations about one team member with another team member other than your manager or your administrator. It's those little things that you might not think about that make so much difference. Let me give you an example. So a receptionist is busy, she's on the phone, and maybe she's checking someone out, and you come in and she doesn't make eye contact or any gesture to you. It's a little thing, but you note it and you're not liking it. By the time she gets to you, let's say she's got to run to the restroom and she hasn't had lunch and she's just not that friendly. Okay, well, that's strike two. Then you check out and she's not really even that interested in things when you check out. How likely are you to come back to that business? The receptionist has such an impact on your sales and your retention, most importantly, your repeat business, which is the lifeblood of a med spa or a day spa or a hair salon or a plastic surgery office or a restaurant. Those negative experiences, the bad receptionist, I was laughing because we talked about this on our company meeting today. I go to a certain office that so does one of my employees. And this receptionist was so terribly bad. And I haven't been there in over 2 years, and I still remembered her name. Because I disliked her so much. And it was like, I did not want to go back there. Now, my staff member continued to go back and did let the owners know that, boy, this person's not very good. But, we tell people 10 to 20 times more if we don't like a place that we've gone to than if we do like a place that we've gone to. So company culture is palpable. You feel it when you walk in. Just like someone smiling and being happy on the phone really wows you and you want to go in there. You know, if you wow someone on the phone, they don't call the next option to see if they should go through a consultation there. People don't like to get multiple consultations. If you say and do the right things, they will buy from you. They want this service. If you don't, they will check out their options. So when you're thinking about, is it worth training your staff? What if I put all this money into training my staff and they leave? Well, as the saying goes, what if you don't put the money in and they stay? That is really what happens that creates these cultures that are not comfortable for the owner, the staff, or the client or patient. So why do you need to invest in good leadership skills for yourself? Because it affects the profitability and success of your business. Why do you need to look in the mirror and see if you're leading by example? Because it will trickle down and permeate like a cancer all the way through your company. Why do you have to take the time to really figure out who's supposed to do what and how to measure if they're doing a good job? Again, it's all about your business success. Turnover is extremely expensive. It's not good for your customer service or your retention or your company morale. So this is one of those invisible things that people don't like to talk about because it's company culture and it's vision and it's management and leadership. And sometimes that feels like something that's not able to be broken down by step-by-step methods, but it certainly is. Just like how to do a good consultation or how to run the front desk correctly, there are nuances and little steps along the way. Do you mix up your Botox behind your clients so they can't see what you're doing, or do you mix it in front of them? Do you always make sure you do a consultation sitting lower than your client, or do you stand up and tower over them? Do you use their name a couple times during the consultation, or do you not? Do you remember seeing them before, or do you not? These are little tiny steps that when we do consultation training, there's 100 different things that are so tiny, and none of them on their own really make that big of a impact. But it's kind of like a Jenga game. You can have a few things out before the whole thing falls down. Company culture is one of those things that will affect every single aspect of your business. Operations, it'll affect your marketing, your average ticket, your retail sales, whether a service is being used or not. And it's all about structure, training, and leadership. And in the book, Chapter 10, we give you a step-by-step implementation guide of things that you should be doing in order to create the right work environment so that your team can come together, row the same direction, and create the most success possible for your patients, for themselves, and for your practice. So company culture and leadership is where it is at. And if you want to know how things are going at your company, check out our Secret Shopper program, because that is a great way for us to let you know how you're doing from the outside. If you want a customer survey or an employee customer survey, we're happy to do that as well. But what you really need to do is make sure everyone knows their job, how to make more money, and that they are in the right place. And always consider moving someone to a different position than letting them go, because many times we just have them in the wrong spot within our group. So guys, that is week 10 of Top 10 Profit Killers, and I really hope you get this book. This is a to-do action guide of best practices, whether you've got an existing practice that you're trying to make even better, whether you're trying to start something from scratch and you want to do it right the first time, great, or even a turnaround. So whatever your needs are, you can go topic by topic and say, hey, where am I? Before you put the address in, right? Where am I and where do I want to go? So this has each chapter. How am I doing in this area now? How do I fix it? And that's what this book is about. Each chapter is supposed to be a 1 hour compressed time of how we do our work one-on-one with our clients. And I really hope that it helps you make your practice more profitable and a place that you enjoy being and your staff enjoys working at.
Thanks, Kelly. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and click the notification icon to be notified every time we post a new video. And don't forget, grab your free copy of Kelly's book and all of the resources we've provided. You can find those links, as always, in the description below.